Hey everybody, it's Scott back again, talking about AOV and LTV. So a lot of times I'll get questions about which one is more important. Should I focus on AOV, average order value, and that we'll talk about the definition of that in a second, or should I focus on more lifetime value issues? And it's really not a simple question to answer because there are so many factors that involve themselves in which should be important and why and when. So let's just kind of first definitionally talk about average order value. Now, I'm going to go with the classic kind of way that average order value is expressed these days and not go into kind of more of the nuanced semantics of value. But rest assured, let's start by saying average order value tends to be what is the cart value independent of costs. So again, this is where it gets into a little bit of dicey territory, but what's the average order value on the day of checkout, right? So if somebody comes to your website and buys $100 worth of supplements, your average order value is $100, right? So again, I won't get into why that's quite not true. You should be factoring in your costs as well, but nonetheless, average order value is a topic that is discussed a lot in our space, but that is the classic definition of average order value. Now, lifetime value should be what is the what is the dollar amount that that person checks out over the course of their life. So on day zero, right, when the person just buys, average order value equals lifetime value, right? And our goal as marketers is once we acquire a customer to be able to market to that user over time, right? And time could be day one through N. N could be, you could be marketing to the same user 10 years from now. But whatever that person does from day one to day N, let's call it 10 years from now, that becomes your lifetime value. And so, which is more important is a really difficult topic to discuss because most people would say lifetime value is the most important element. However, what arguments like that fail to take into account is that when you buy media, oftentimes you can't buy media at a huge loss. You need to be able to buy media at maybe slightly break even to hopefully profitable. So that means making some front end claims that get the average checkout value to be pretty high, right? Because that's ultimately how you're going to make media work, is making sure that your average order value is slightly above, and it's okay if it's slightly below what it costs to acquire you a customer. Now, if you were just concerned about lifetime value, that page might incur huge losses right out of the gate because your claims are very low and you're doing a lot to kind of back off the offer a bit to make sure that you have a buyer. And that may not be feasible for some people who need cash flow to scale these types of businesses. So I would say that early on, AOV is far more important because AOV is what's going to get the attention of affiliates and media buyers because that's going to relate to your ability to pay them a high CPA or a percentage of rev share. So in most cases, early on out of the gate, most marketers are going to focus on AOV. And I think that's actually the right call. Now, as you progress, what constitutes great LTV? And that's a whole different topic unto itself, but that's things like lowering refund rates, chargeback rates. It could come down to the color of the box they get, or the inserts, or welcome calls, any number of things that relates to how do you get that user to buy more stuff over time. That ultimately is the bigger number. LTV is I would say arguably the more important number over a period of time. But if you look at it from just out of the gate, AOV is going to be far more important. So I want to just make this video to kind of explain the difference. If you're, again, just starting out or you're scaling, I would focus almost exclusively on AOV. You have to think about LTV down the road because that's just a good part about being a direct marketer, is making sure that your refund rates are low and chargebacks, and making sure that you're answering emails on time, making sure you're remarketing different products you have over time. That stuff goes without saying. You have to have that. But out of the gate, I'd say focus on AOV. I hope that helps, and look forward to chatting you in further videos. Thanks.